Hi, I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Welcome to the very first episode of Curious Crafters. We're so glad you're here.
So today is Saturday, April 16th, and we're filming from Northern California. Our first episode is going to have lots of cross stitch, some sewing on paper, and a little bit of knitting.
And we're going to put our show notes on our blog, Curious Crafters, and you can find a link to that in the description box below.
It's right below. So Anna, let's get started. What are you wearing today?
I am wearing a top and some jeans and some sneakers, and it is called the Alice top, made by Tessuti, which is an Australian pattern company. And it's made of a really floaty rayon, which is one of my go-to things right now. I just love the feel of it. Usually I have to add some length, but this top is more of a, I don't know, almost like a tunic kind of thing, so I didn't have to add any length. I just had to take a little bit out of the armpit because my arms are sort of thin compared to the rest of my body proportionally.
And when you're thinking about your length, Anna is tall. Anna is 5'11", so often you have to add, what, a couple inches to patterns along the way?
Yeah, 5'10".
Usually?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not 5'11"?
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
all right.
Yeah, usually I add about 2 inches to my tops and at least 3 inches to dresses, and it's one of the things I love about sewing my own garments.
Yeah,
They fit.
Cool, nice.
And Carolyn, how about you? What are you wearing?
Yeah, I'm wearing a Inaugural sweater, and it was designed by Ari Shimizi. You'll see a pattern for it. We'll have a picture of it here. So if you see in the pattern, it has a little bit of color accent right here, but instead of doing color accent, I don't know if you can see it.
It's hard to see.
It's hard to see that I've done just a mohair. So depending on what top I wear underneath it, sometimes you, like if it's white, you'll see a little white showing through. And it's a yoke sweater, and I knit it as part of a knit along with Anna. Anna, have you finished yours?
I'm about halfway done.
Okay.
I have not finished.
She's gonna finish it. Our other sister, our older sister Joan, and one of my daughters-in-law. So it was really fun knitting these. I think I jumped into the bandwagon late. I think you three had already started it, and I'm like, FOMO, let me jump in too. So I've knit the sweater. It's with Bishi Bouche, and it's Le Petite Lamb's wool, which is a really great lightweight wool that's perfect for a Northern California climate. So this is a go-to sweater for me.
Really pretty.
Yeah, good. All right, let's do a little bit about our finished objects.
Okay. I thought I'd go way back because this is my second season of cross stitching. I used to cross stitch as a child and in my early 20s, and I actually made a sampler when I was, I don't know, I think 24 or something. I should be able to figure that out because it has a date on it.
We all thought you were a little bit crazy, but
yeah, I think I was the only one in the family who liked it, and I enjoyed working on it so much. And here it is. You can really, I mean, it's really dated when I look at it. It really looks like that era.
Do you remember what the pattern was, Anna?
I have no idea what the pattern is. I can't remember where I got it. I'm pretty sure it was DNC. It's on Aida, and I counted it. I'm pretty sure it's 16 count. It's an off-white Aida. And I just thought it was spectacular when I made it. I just was really, really proud of it.
It is spectacular.
It hangs in my guest room now. I'm really fond of it, and it just brings up so many memories. I lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia at the time, and there was a great cross-stitch store, and I don't even know if it's one of the stores that's still open there. And at the time, I remember I was really getting interested in fabrics that weren't Aida and starting to dabble in that. I did some...
Do you know, did they have any linen then when you were stitching that?
You know,
is that an option?
I have an old piece of something. I wouldn't call it linen. It's almost like burlap. It's very rough, but it's a really neat color. I'll bring that another time.
Yeah.
So one of the memories associated with this is I was, I don't know, maybe halfway, 3/4 done, and I was stitching it on a family vacation. So Carolyn was there, and a bird pooped on it.
You're stitching outside on the we were down on the patio, I think.
There was a brilliant purple splotch in the middle of this sampler. And of course I wasn't at home, and we immediately went, like probably 5 of us rushed to the sink to try to, put it under some cool water or something. And I really can't even remember how we got it out.
It's one of those situations where you don't know to laugh or cry.
Yeah. But it did come out. Sometimes I wonder, will it appear 20 years from now? It hasn't appeared yet, and it was finished in 86.
I mean, you don't even know where it was, right? You totally came out.
Unless it was under these chevrons.
Yeah, maybe that might be a good thing.
I really don't remember. I just remember, it was a laugh. Do we laugh or we cry? But it was very exciting, and we did good.
We were sitting on the patio, and she's stitching away, and all of a sudden we just hear this poop.
I mean, it was big and purple. It was spectacular.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's really cool. That's fun. So that was your very first cross stitch piece? You did?
No, I had done
your
like
first
Christmas
made?
ornaments and things.
Yeah.
This was the most major piece and my first sampler, and yeah,
That's great.
lots of happy memories.
That's great. That's great. Hey, I'm going to share a finish, and this was super fun. I've been now cross stitching for about a year and a half, and you'll hear that story evolve as we go through the episodes. Last summer, my husband and I drove across country, and one of the places I circled on the map was I really wanted to go to Country Sampler, and that's in Spring Green, Wisconsin, and it was like going to a museum. It was all the samples. It was just incredible, especially at that point. I've been cross stitching about 9 months, and just really seeing what they look like. And I told myself I'm gonna buy one kit, and I bought 2 patterns, and I looked really hard, and I got this piece. Let me show it to you. This is called the Songbird Sampler. And this is a design by Artful Offerings, and I stitched it on R&R Winter Brew 36 count, and the fibers I used were the Country Sampler conversion. So they had a kit there with the conversion. They also had it kitted with fabric to finish it as a pillow, but I'm going to frame this. And this is for Anna. About the same time I bought this, Anna became a grandmother, and her grandmother name is Birdie. So I just thought this was perfect. This sampler was so fun to stitch because it had everything. It had some geometrics, like when I was just like tired, I would just stitch those horizontal lines. The birds were just great with these pops of color. And I'm not so into vines. That takes a lot of thinking and counting, but they were still fun and no break. And that tree in the middle, same thing, was very geometric.
And I love vines.
You love stitching vines. Yeah.
To me, it looks like, well, there are these little notes, and then it looks like these vases are sort of singing these vines.
Oh.
I just love that part, and I love how small the house is compared to the birds.
I know.
To me, when there is disproportionate, with disproportionate objects in a cross stitch sampler, I
like that thinking.
Yeah.
I also haven't stitched a lot of alphabets, and I loved how this alphabet had that repetition of the diamond in the middle. And so as you started stitching letters, you'd start thinking, oh, where is that diamond going to be? So I thought that was fun. What I thought was really cool about this conversion is I'm going to show you the pattern now, and I don't think I would have picked this project based on the colors of the sample. And these colors, I'm not saying they're not good colors, they just weren't colors for me. It was just so different, much more vibrant primary colors, still very fresh, but I loved the Country Sampler conversion with that little bit more muted. And it was on a sample of the pillow, and I saw that, I'm like, Birdie, yes please.
Yeah, there's a big difference in those
There's
colors.
a big difference. And then here are just the threads. Still have those. Again, they were the overdyed cottons and the Country Sampler conversion.
So I heard about this just a little bit. Carolyn said something like, I bought a sampler that reminds me of you. I'm going to make it for you. And I never saw anything until maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I started it in the fall, probably like October, and then finished it, I think, maybe end of March or something. I'm like, and it's done. And then I showed it to her.
It's
so
beautiful.
That was a really, really fun project.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, this is cool, Anna, your next one.
So one of my finished objects in the last month or so is I really like to sew, as you know from my shirt, and I like to sew on paper. And my son is getting married soon, and I am making the place card, or I have made the place cards. And this is what one looks like. So it's just a double line of sewing.
Oh, and it has a little leaf on it. Oh, and your paper, it's going to be different.
It's a rifle paper, like a flat wrapping paper from Rifle Paper, and I just chopped, cut holes, cut circles from it, and we just have stacks and stacks of them. And once we get closer to the wedding, we'll write on it with white.
How are you going to write it? Oh,
just some. I mean, they'll have the table number too.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. We're not gonna know until we finally watch this video. Are we gonna have mirror image? Will that writing show up mirror image, or is that gonna show up? Okay, this is just a test case for us, so we'll know, are we in mirror image or not? Oh, I'm glad the Curious Crafters are gonna be at the wedding and the reception.
Oh yes, the Curious Crafters
are
invited.
We'll be showing up.
And the mother of the bride loves to draw leaves. And, her Christmas card was absolutely beautiful. So she's going to draw a little embellishment as well. So it'll be sort of a combination of the moms on the place cards.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, just Soak them with love.
You'll have to show us one of the. You have to show mine. We'll just look at mine.
Okay.
When it's ready to go.
You are a curious crafter.
I am a curious crafter. Awesome. All right. Then the last finished object. This is something I saw it and I stitched it like right away. And this is called Share Joy. And this is a design from Hands to Work. And it was in the Kitten Stitcher Advent Calendar box from 2021. So this is not available readily right now, but I think all designers after the year or something will be releasing it. I opened this and just instantly was like, I gotta stitch that bird. That bird, it's just something about, I don't know. I'm finding, I love wacky birds, and you'll kind of see that as we go through this episode. Here's the pattern. Again, it's called Share Joy by Hands to Work. And here's the pattern. And for this, I just got online and I ordered the linen and the called for over-dyed. And the linen, it's R&R Espresso, and it was stitched on 32 count. And I stitched one thread over two, I guess one floss over two threads on that with the, again.
One strand.
There we go. That's the way to say it.
We're still learning all the lingo.
We're learning the lingo. You know, when I started watching Flosstube, and everyone was like, oh yeah, it's 1 over 2, it's 2 over 2. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? So I was frantically Googling what are all these things as I was learning.
Because we like figuring things out.
We like figuring things out. I know. I'm like, curious, what is she talking about? And then here are the overdyes. Just super fun. I really like this turquoise blue for that.
Yeah.
So this one
turned out great.
I don't yet know how. I think I'm going to try to finish it as a flat fold. Have you seen those
Yes,
that are
yes,
flat
yes.
and then they open up like that to
Yeah.
stand? So we'll see. And I think I'm going to try to do it myself. So I'll look for a video and we'll see what happens.
I can see it. You have a long countertop there between your living room and kitchen, and I can see it propped up against a little vase or something.
Yeah, something
like that.
So that was just. I think I stitched it in about like a week and a half or something. Once I get the threads, it was so fun.
I'm really fond of this style tree as well. I like geometric things.
And again, I know some people don't like fill-in. I really like fill-in. I feel like I often will outline it, and then it's like a no-brainer thing to do because you're just then cruising along for that. Or I like anything with repetition, like those triangles down the side. Once you get the groove of the pattern, I like thinking of just like, what's the sequence? We're both math teachers, so we anything that's about patterns or geometry, we just really like.
I like sort of getting it in my brain and then doing it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I like about samplers is that you have that choice. Do I want to do something geometric? Do I want to do a vine? Do I want to do a fill-in?
Right, and kind of moving around as you're going.
Like what my mood is.
Yeah, good.
It's very fulfilling.
All right, so those were just the finished objects that we wanted to share with you. We'll have more coming along. So we're going to show you a sampling of some of the works that we have in progress.
And you'll start seeing, if you haven't already, why we're titling this episode Everything Birds.
You know, and I was actually looking at the fabric of your top, and there's like a bird right there.
So
as we're thinking about birds,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
All right, do you want to start talking about what we got up to?
Sure. We were sitting at our niece's softball game and passing back phone saying like, have you seen this pattern? Have you seen this pattern? And both of us were attracted to these birds, Frederick and Frederica. And then it came up just naturally like, I've seen this word fractor. What does fractor mean? And we've learned that the word fractor is associated with like birth announcements, wedding announcements for the Pennsylvania Dutch community, and like the T maybe is not connected. That style of lettering on those documents, so that's where the fractor part comes. As much as I understand so far. So there's something about fractor patterns that are attractive to us, and they're Pennsylvania Dutch heritage is on our mother's side, so that adds to it for me as well.
So it's something we definitely want to. Let's learn a little bit more about it.
Okay.
All right. So
let's research.
Yeah, we're gonna research it and find out a little bit more. But we both
could be totally wrong. I'm pretty sure it has to do with the letters.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, because I think it was named after a like font style. I mean, I know font is the typographical style or something like that came in.
That's a good way to describe it.
I think. And then the things, and a lot of the images, and we'll try to get some more samples, are these very graphical, very bold color almost like whimsical images that they have along with it.
With you in particular, like the geometric flowers, you have those.
Oh yeah, this, I cannot get enough of that flower right there. Really like that a lot. So we were both really like these, so we said, let's just order both patterns. And then I think, do we put them behind your back and one
Yeah.
we just picked? And so we just randomly picked, and then went on, in December when we were both on our winter break, we went up to NPI Silk, which is up in San Francisco. We drove up there for a day and we got all of our floss, so that was really fun to do that, and started the stitching away. So you want to show your progress first, Sean Federica?
That was a great outing, and because we're both teachers and NPI is not open on the weekends at all, we have to wait for one of our vacations.
So it was really fun. And we should say these designs are both by Carriage House Samplings. For that. Okay, let's see your progress, Anna.
All right, here is Frederica so far. Here she is.
I love those strawberries and I love that flower.
Strawberries are another one of my favorite, what do you call? I was gonna say
Motif.
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 Yeah. So I was happy that mine had strawberries, and my border is filled in. It's really weighty.
Yeah.
It's like thick. It's changing sort of the feel of fabric.
It's really fun. I think once you start stitching something, you really get to know it so much better than just by looking at it. I'm sure as we get better, we'll know what to look with the pattern. But these to me looked so similar when we first did, but now that we're stitching it, we're starting to see some subtle differences. For example, Anna's border is filled in and my border is not. It's left open.
That's been part of the fun as we've stitched, is seeing the differences.
Yeah. Do you remember those?
I like them both. I
love. Yeah, and they're going to be great companion pieces. I love. Did you ever? I think they still have them in the newspapers where they would show you. I think it was on highlights to the magazine. They would show you two pictures, and you had to figure out like what was different between the two. That was like super fun for me. It still is.
Or how about that game at birthday parties where there's a tray of things and then something went missing?
Yeah. So I think as we're looking at this, we're seeing that. Okay, so I'm just going to show mine again. And again, this is the same kind of idea that it's fun. When you're in a geometric mood, there's the geometric, I enjoyed those borders and the triangles. The bird was super fun. There's actually, it's kind of hard to see, but it was really just a lot of two colors that are mixed together that give that look for that.
I like autumnal colors. You know, I'm just realizing now, I thought the birds would be looking at each other if we hang them side by side, but that is not the case.
Well, she's looking at him and he's like, what? So they're probably like, we both teach middle schools. They're probably like middle school boy and girl, you know. Anna and I have different ways we like to store our floss. I really like the floss drops even for silk. So here are the colors for Frederick, and Frederica really shares some similar colors.
Almost exactly the same. I prefer to put silk in these little bags.
And in fact, Anna, I'm returning black. I run out of black, and I got you a new one too for that. So that was just a fun field trip to go up there and get our silks. And we'll insert, if we haven't seen them already, I don't know where I'll insert them, but we have a picture of sort of the wall of silk, and then they have a very classic big black door that you go into when you enter the store there. All right.
Let's just say the wall of silk. You can just stand there and it's breathtaking.
It's like more than a wall. It's like a U shape like this with so much silk. And I could just imagine it'd be really fun to go up and pick colors, although like there was one thing I needed. Oh, I'll show this piece later. I was doing another piece where the colors, I had to change two of the colors. And it was just really fun. I did that when I was up there so I took the piece and I just walked around the wall looking for, I needed to change to sort of a browny gray. I'll show this is the Esther piece. And it was just great being able to see all the floss in person.
Very friendly store, and they will pull colors for you, or they'll just let you be and look at colors yourself, whatever is good for you.
Okay, so I'm gonna get some advice from Anna, and I'd love to hear your advice too. It's gonna be hard to see. Okay. This leaf and stems, you can see down here is black, and then this is a very gray green. That in the picture looks much more green than that. To me, this looks very brownish green, brownish gray. So I experimented using a slightly different green over here. Still looks very muted and very gray, but it's slightly different. I'm gonna have Anna look at that, and here I'm gonna show you all what the two flosses were. And the top one, let's see if I can display those better. think when you look at one will just read greener than the other.
Maybe pull them back a little bit. Yeah. It's hard to see.
It's hard to see. Can you see a difference between the green and the gray?
Definitely. In person, you definitely can. I prefer the original, which is
Do
the
you
dark.
really?
But having said that, it has been bothering me. You mentioned it to me 10 times.
I know.
So I think you should make the change.
Okay, well,
I like them both.
I wonder if I should just leave this one.
Oh.
But over here, use the green and just have that little subtle difference.
Well, you certainly could finish that other side.
And it's interesting, this side, and you can actually see in the pattern there how much greener it looks. I'm going to introduce some of these red leaves, so we'll see how that is. Okay, Anna, interesting.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like a slam dunk. I'm like, definitely the green is better. But what is it about that one that you prefer?
I like that. I like it when there are darks and lights and mediums, and to me that dark, I know sometimes a really dark thing can feel like a black hole, black hole or something. I like it. I think it adds depth or something.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish it using the other green on this side, and we may just leave it at that. Okay, Anna, thank you.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what you decide ultimately.
I would love to hear what you all think. Did you have a preference? Did you like the original more gray, or did you prefer the little bit more green? So it's also so subtle. It's like one of those things, like, no one's really going to notice, but you know what I mean? As you're sitting around,
is analyzing the colors, and
it is part of the fun. And before we move on to the next thing, I just want to share my project bag that I've been using for this. And Anna made this for me, and she hand stitched the whole thing. Anna, did you use a tutorial? Do you remember what you did for that? I'm
pretty sure it was the one from Elizabeth Ankin's Stitch.
Oh, Elizabeth Ankin Stitch. Okay,
that's her name.
And you see, she even did some. This is inside, a little bit of stitching on top of that.
That was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Anna.
You're welcome.
Have you made one for yourself?
Nope.
Oh, we should probably mention we are stitching this on 32 count needle and flax Pemberley. And all this information we have, if you go to our show notes, again, the link, we just put it on the blog, and we have all that information, and then we've also linked to different resources and everything along the way. So you can check those out. And we'll put some pictures in there as well.
There's some nice gold.
There is, yeah.
In this. I think it goes great with this. Before we put these down, I do want to say the spotting on my samplers is continuing because I was eating chocolate, and it was very, very careful. I think I think I washed my hands, but I think a little chocolate had dropped on my lap or something, and I had
can you see
chocolate spots over here. Although no, if I have to search for them, I got it out enough. But it's sort of funny now to think, like, what things should I not eat or drink? Like, no red wine.
Yeah.
While I'm cross stitching.
I mean, people do like coffee and tea should. Well, that should be
coffee.
No, that should be fine because some people do a little antiquing, I think, by doing some coffee.
That's true.
You'd have to just go with that. All right, so we'll keep you posted on that one, and I think let's learn a little bit more about the Fractor and thing, and we'd love to hear if anybody has experience with Fractor or has any resources. We'd love to hear that as well. Okay. So next up, Anna, you're up next.
Yeah. Another thing I'm working on also involves a large bird, and that is from Market, Sir Dandy. Oh, here's my progress so far, and I'll show you the pattern.
You have not even gotten to the best part.
Dun, 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 dun.
That bird.
I know. So I have been working my way down to get to the bird because I just had to start it. And again, like we said earlier, sometimes I want to do a few letters, or sometimes I want to do some fill-in on the bird, but I just can't wait. This is just great fun. And here, most of my silks, these are MPI silks again, are in little bags, but these are some of, these are some of the colors that I haven't done yet. Colors are so pretty.
They are really pretty.
Oh my gosh, the skeins of NPI can just really pet. They're so soft.
See if we can put them up like this.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I see people do this and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can try that. This gold and that teal together, that's such a great combination. And it's funny, sometimes people are drawn to colors. It's these neutrals then that really make the colors pop. Like sometimes you look at this color and you're like, whatever, that's khaki. But you need those
to ground things or to,
So that's really it.
And as I was stitching along, I couldn't find this little tiny bird
On the chart.
on the chart. So I went to Hands to Work. This is Sir Dandy's by Hands to Work. The website has the chart, the addition to the chart. And again, we'll link that. And Tracy, who is the designer, said that little bird she thinks maybe was a last minute addition. Sort of fun to think, like, do I like the chart with it or without it? Anyway, it's there to add to the chart.
Okay. And my next work in progress, this is called Spring Moon. And this is designed by Plum Street Samplers. And it is currently an exclusive to Fox and Rabbit. So I ordered it from Fox and Rabbit. Yes, I did order this chart from Australia. It came super quickly, and I did pay a lot more in postage, but as soon as I saw it, I just knew it was something I wanted to stitch. Let me show you the pattern for that. Here it is. Plum Street, what I like about Plum Street, I love the whimsical, very graphical shapes. For example, those 3 big flowers, awesome. And even just geometric down there in the grass, how she shadowed the flowers in the grass. I just really like all that geometric. And I'm stitching this. It's a Regency from Seraphim Fabrics, 32 count. I'm using almost all the call for threads. When we went to pick threads, they didn't have black coffee. I think that's I forget who does that one. So I picked molasses, and that's the brown in there. It just needed a dark brown. And I don't know if you can pick it up on the fabric, but this fabric, Regency Seraphim Fabrics, has a little bit both of olive green and turquoise modeling on it, which I think really played off the colors of the flowers and the greenery. And you can see the little rabbits starting to come in. So I have another thing I'm thinking about here. To me, this has so much cool colors in it. The blues, the greens, all different variations of greens. And the only warmth is in the basket right here. It's a very orangey brick. And I'm thinking about picking 2, there are 5 flowers in here. 5 flowers, two. Those 5 flowers, I'm thinking of picking 2 or 3 of them and doing them in 2 shades of orange to pull in some warmth versus keeping them all blue. Any thoughts?
Let me look at the pattern real quick.
Yeah, and let me pull out, you do that, let me pull out the threads. This one I'm doing, did I say this? 2 strands over 2 threads, and I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. I'm just comparing 1 strand versus 2 strands. And here's all the colors. So again, lots of greens, lots of blues, and then there is the one kind of brick color that's used in the house for that. What do you think, Anna?
I like it as
Yeah,
I like it as is.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like if you bring in that same color, it's going to change the contrast with the basket. There's something about the basket being different. So I was just thinking, if you wanted to do a different color flower, what could you do besides the color in the basket?
Oh, I was actually not going to do the color in the basket. I was going to pull out 2 more in the orange range.
What color? Let me see the basket again.
It's this color.
So it has more pink in it.
Oh, it's kind of bricky. So
I think I'd have to see him held up.
Okay, really. So that's something I'm kind of stitching around the flowers right now. I haven't put those in. Again, anybody has advice, we love, oh my gosh, give us your opinions. We love opinions. So thinking about that, maybe once I get some more into it. Or, you know, another idea, maybe part of it is I feel like sometimes these flowers are blending in too much with the leaves, not enough contrast. So maybe taking some of the lighter blues and maybe reversing where this is a dark with a light, doing a light with a dark and something and keeping it in the blues. So something I'm sort of thinking about as I'm stitching this. And that's that.
Yeah, this flower almost does that.
Right. That one already does sort of that reversal. Again, fun stitch in that we have lots of different things here. There was some geometric, there was some graphical, there was some fill-in. Can't wait to get down to that fill-in in the grass down there. Really enjoy that. All right, so Spring Moon by Plum Street Samplers. Awesome. Oh, one more.
Sweater, yeah.
Sweater. I'm also a big time knitter. In fact, I do probably a little bit more knitting than I do cross stitch, although that's been evolving a lot. And I've been working, lucky enough, I have 2 granddaughters that are 1 month apart from each other. They're going to turn 2 soon. And I'd love to make them sweaters that are similar, maybe the same pattern, but slightly different colors. So I've already knit this pattern before, and this is called Vesla Winterfell, and it's designed by Skein Knits. And Skein Knits, if you're on Ravelry, I've linked to that. She also has a great Flosstube channel called Skein Knits that she does. And she is a self-proclaimed Norwegian living and working in London. So she has a lot of a Norwegian feel to hers. So here's her pattern. I've knit it once for the older granddaughter, older by a month, and I'll insert some pictures of that version. And then here's the second one I'm working on, and this is the back. It's going to be a cardigan. And this is knit from the top down, so I'm working down the body now, and then these will become the sleeves once I'm done with the body. If you look at the front, if you see that vertical line coming down the middle, the way this is knit is it's knit totally circular, around and around and around, but since it's a cardigan, you come back at the end and you cut it open. So you I do a little reinforcement, get those scissors out, and cut it. So I'll show you some progress along the way when I get to that cutting stage, because it's pretty exciting. The yarn I'm using is Tuca wool fingering. It's a really nice woolly wool. And the first granddaughter, her colors were these. The body was orange. She requested orange, not even quite 2, but she loves orange. That one's done. And then this one, I'm using the same dark purple and white, but adding in this magenta for the body, as you're seeing. So super fun project. It's really fun to see the girls wearing their sweaters when they're done. So
it's so satisfying.
We'll see that as it progresses as well.
Playing at the park.
Playing at the park in their sweaters. So that's our work in progress that we wanted to share this time. We're going to talk, we live about 1.5 miles from each other, so we're constantly in each other's houses. So we decided just for our cross-stitch supplies, we just share it all together. We put all our patterns together, all our linens together. Our threads right now, I guess as we're building our threads, we'll do that. And that way, just whoever wants whatever, we've just been sharing it. So as we're looking at our haul or things that we put in our stash, we just share them.
Yeah,
so, okay.
Which is great fun. So back when we were starting our birds, the called for fabric is Lakeside Linen Pearl Barley. Mm-hmm. So I ordered it online and from Traditional Stitchers, and they emailed back and said there's going to be a couple of months wait. So I decided, well, I'm gonna get it anyway, and this is what it looks like. So it's really, really different.
So it's kind of here. Let me put our threads. It's kind of interesting to see. I wonder what we would have looked like.
See, that's really pretty too.
It's really pretty, also. Although I like what we've picked. I like that lighter linen. I feel like the colors really pop.
It just goes to show you so many different combinations of colors look great. Yeah. So
I think too, I'm just finding, again, as a new cross stitcher, it's hard to get a call for linen. And so we just trying to be collecting linen, and we'll just, when we're starting a project, we'll just pull out our linens and pick what we think looks good.
Right. We're learning a lot about linen. So this is Lakeside Pearl Barley, which I like very much. Mm-hmm. And Traditional Stitchers was great about keeping in communication about when it was coming and everything.
Yeah.
And it just came.
Good.
Also, because we're talking birds.
Yeah. Did you find it?
I received this.
I have never seen this one before.
It's, the copyright is old. Let me see. 2014.
2014.
Kathy
okay.
Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
And I received this as a gift at Christmas, and I get a kick out of it. Who knows if I'll ever stitch it?
You know what I could see too? I could see just even taking some of those bird motifs and just doing like a little small something or other.
Mm-hmm. Like a peacock.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that cardinal. I like them all.
Yeah.
Or thinking like making them seasonal, like each bird for a different season or something like that. Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure we've added to our pattern collection. Some of these you're going to see were from market. And I know people have seen these patterns over and over again, but I know when I watch Flosstube, I really like seeing what did people pick and combination. So I'm going to show a few things. Some of them are new from market, some are older. The first theme is, okay, I'm not a big decorator. I'm just going to be super honest. but I thought it would be fun to have one spot in my house that I have just a few little seasonal things. And I was even thinking, like,
especially, you're not a big decorator.
I'm not a big decorator.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't like decorate for season.
I see.
I don't know, like, I don't know. But I also thought it might be fun for the granddaughters that they would have like a little place they could go and see as things change throughout the season. So a couple of these, I saw this by Hand to Heart Seasonal Etchings. And this is shown all in one, but I think when she originally released this, she released them individually. And I've seen people do them. And so we got spring, summer, fall, and winter. I really like these. I love the graphic and sort of the etching. They do feel like a linoleum or a wood block. And so I would definitely stitch these individually for that.
Yeah. And we're going to pick a linen where if like little hands touch them, it doesn't.
Absolutely.
You won't see
nothing's going to be precious. You know, okay? If they want to play with it,
right.
We'll have ones that are touchable and ones that aren't.
Right.
This is one, Brenda Gervais. I think many people have seen this. Seasons of the Heart, of course. And this surprised me a little bit that I like this so much, but I really do. And I think, again, I could see having sort of some different styles of seasonal themes. So I think I'm going to start with spring for those two and see what happens.
Great.
The next series was, I didn't realize I loved Hands to Heart so much, but as soon as Mark...
Hands to Work.
Hands to Work, Hands to Work, thank you. Somebody on Instagram had posted little videos. I'll have to go back and see if I can find it. Little videos as she walked through the different booths. And as soon as she got to the Hands to Work video and saw the Sir Dandy, I'm like, I got to pre-order that. I was all over that one. Okay, saw that one. So of course then I got the other companion house. That patchwork house, and whether I do the entire sampler or just pick out part of the motifs, just amazing. And then she also showed this. It's called My Dear. And I think she referenced this as a companion piece to go with Sir Dandy, or maybe it inspired her or similar colors. So loved that. And then when I was pulling out my patterns for my Share Joy, I hadn't realized she was the designer of that big funky bird, of the Share Joy bird. Let me pull it. I know. This is her design as well. So it's funny when all of a sudden you start to think, you know, her style really speaks to me, because you start to see, I picked those up. And then just two others I wanted to show you. Another theme, I like houses. Like, I think the Season of the Heart, I like those houses. This is one by Kitten Stitcher, Shakespeare's Peddler. And this was a small motif. She has a large sampler based on this, but then this was a small one that highlights the house motif. And I love the combination of the very geometric house with the floral with that. And then the asymmetry of the bands. And then the last house one, this is by Kathy Barrick. I'm finding she's another favorite designer for me, a Quaker dwelling. And I think it was Olivia B. was working on this or started this. And as soon as she showed this pattern, I'm like, I need this one as well. So there's that one. So those are sort of some of our newest collections. It was fun. In our next video, we'll talk about a trip we had to go get floss. And so we brought our little bag of patterns and went out to lunch and we're looking through the patterns. So we were
all prepped and ready.
We were all prepped and ready to go get our floss. But we have a small enough collection, our patterns still fit into a little plastic bag. So, but it's fun. We just pull them out and we look at them, and again, we just share them.
Shared supplies.
Shared supplies, that's it. So that's that.
Yeah, in fact, this is Carolyn's. I stole it from her.
Shared supplies. Always happy to share those.
Yeah. All right. Some things we're exploring.
Okay, some things. So we talk about like being curious about things, and this is something as a new stitcher I've been thinking a lot about, and that is when you're stitching on 32 count fabric, what's better, one strand or two? And I thought I'd show you a couple of samples and some things I've been thinking about as far. Okay, so here, Anna, our Frederick and Frederica, we're doing one strand of MPI silk over 2 threads.
Yeah.
For that.
You can see in the head in particular, you can see the fabric peeking through for sure.
Yeah. And my Hands to Work, oh, that was a big mess I just made. That's all right. This was also stitched one strand over 2 threads on 32 count. And I feel like when you do this, you can see the linen through it, but it makes me also feel like the linen is part of the design.
Yeah.
So to me, it feels like it's one piece, which I think has its pros and cons.
And there's a little bit of air.
There's a little bit of air.
I dislike a stuffed kitchen drawer. I like a little air in things.
Yeah.
And that's what this makes me feel like.
Yeah. And then this piece, my Spring Moon, this is 2 threads. Sorry, 2 strands over 2 threads. I have to learn how to say that. And here, to me, it feels like the stitching is on top of the fabric.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, it has a 3-dimensional quality. When you look at it through the side, I can almost feel it being raised.
Like a puff.
A puff. And I also feel like your stitches, you don't see the cross as clearly. I'm gonna use blob. I don't really quite mean a blob, but you just kind of get these blobs.
I feel like, for some reason, I feel like this might be a higher count.
I'm
Maybe
wondering
because
too.
after the dyeing.
I'm wondering too.
We should measure it.
Yeah, I will measure that for next time. So just kind of thinking about both aesthetic of what does it look like, and there might be times where you're like, oh, I really want to feel like the linen is playing a part of the story of the design, and there are other times you might be like, oh, I just want that graphic feel of something popping off of the fabric, and it's really solid and covering it.
It seems like in the cross stitch community on a whole, most people do 2 strands on 32.
I agree, and most people like, I think, that denser feel. So I'm gonna just be, and I feel like on 36, I really like the 1 strand. I've done one little thing on 28. I really like the 2 strands. So it's really in this 32 count world, kind of playing around with that.
Right.
I also found like the rhythm of the piece. I think I like the rhythm of 1 strand over 2 threads.
Well, because you're having to fiddle with it.
And I think strands? Again, it's like the air. No, it's not the strands. It's like finding your hole in the fabric and getting it. I don't know. Yeah. This one, I mean, I still feel calm stitching it, but I feel like I'm digging a little bit more.
I see.
For that. Yeah. So love to hear if you all have opinions or experiences thinking about that. And I think this is probably one of those things where it's pros and cons, and it's just going to depend on the piece, what look you're going for.
Right. And like so many things, just what you prefer.
Yeah. Okay, so what have you been exploring?
One of the things I've been exploring is ditching the hoop. So this is my old hoop from childhood. I'm a little sentimental.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool though.
Yeah. In fact, I looked this up because it has a brand on it, Monarch, and I'm like, I wonder if I can still get a Monarch hoop.
You know,
and they're described as vintage.
You're old enough. This is almost antique. I think it has to be 50 years old to be antique. Do you know how old you were when you were stitching that?
No, and I think I got it from Mom. So it's probably really old. The screw is super cool, and it's intact. It's great. However, I do needle pointing, and I like that feeling of staying on the top of fabric. So I've been practicing with stitching in hand without a hoop and really, really liking it. Certainly if I have more than 4 stitches in a row, if there's some sort of fill-in. And I actually like sizing in a fabric when I'm stitching in hand. I think I didn't say this is Platinum by Zweigart.
Yeah, you can really feel it.
You can smell the sizing and you can feel the sizing. It has, and when I ironed it, I could really smell the sizing, and I like it. And I'm finding
Do you think it opens the holes for you a little bit, the sizing? Or keeps them, it's almost like a little bit of glue. I don't mean glue, but
it's just a certain stiffness. And I find I hold my work in a way that's almost like my fingers do what a hoop does. Like my fingers sort of pull the holes apart a little bit. So anyway, I do care about neat stitches. That's sort of my personality. And I don't know if stitching in hand is resulting in as neat stitches as with a hoop. So I'm just still playing with it. So that's been fun for me.
Yeah, I made a similar transition. I started totally with the hoop and looking Q-snaps and everything. And then I saw Kitten Stitcher had, maybe 7 years ago, had posted a video about how to stitch in hand. And so I've tried that, and I've totally converted to stitching in hand. I like the freedom. I feel like you can really take your pieces anywhere. You can go outside. Like, I don't feel like, something about the hoop made me feel a little bit boxed in or something.
Yeah, so we'll see. Good. Just got to keep stitching.
It's fun. Like, one of the things I love about doing a new handcraft, again, I don't think we've ever met a handcraft we didn't like. But I love the learning phase, because it's a lot about experimenting and trying, and again, learning the lingo. Like, what the heck do people mean when they say 1/2? Like, what? Like,
so much vocabulary.
I know. But it's really fun, and I think that's, to me, part of the interest is really experimenting and thinking, what do I like aesthetically? What do I like process-wise? So
sure, it's
really
a new world.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to end up with our little bit of thumbs up about things that we're really into right now. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Go first. Okay. So some things I'm into right now. I love jelly beans more than anything in the world. I I just love them. Every year I let myself have one bag of jelly beans. Empty. These classic jelly beans are so good. So I bought these last Saturday. It's been a week, and they were, let me just tell you, they were gone before. They were probably gone about 4 days.
I'm glad you enjoyed them.
I enjoyed them so much in my one bag. So if you haven't had your one bag of jelly beans yet, please go have them while they're fresh on the shelf. Another thing I'm into is I have a black thumb like nobody's business. And we are 2 of 5 sisters. And I'd say 2 years ago, Susan gave me a collection of these white vases.
Pretty.
Of different sizes, the medium size. And they stayed empty for like over a year. And then next Christmas coming around, our sisters, we do an exchange. And one of the things I had on my list was I wanted some plants to try in these vases. So our fifth sister, got me some plants. And I've had this plant since Christmas.
It's looking good.
It's been for 3 months, and it has grown. These flowers had popped up. And okay, this just gives me the biggest thrill. They're like these little baby leaves growing on here. So I'm working so hard. This is one of my 3 plants, and they're all thriving. And
Peeking at the others.
Yeah,
they look good.
I really am enjoying it.
She picked a nice variety for you too.
She did. Well, she picked this one, and then she's really clever. She picked this one, and then she gave me a gift certificate to this really great little plant shop we have in town.
Okay, you picked.
And then I picked the other 2. Right. So that's been fun. And then the last thing I'm all into are these are silicone magnetic. I think they're like twist ties or something like that. I use these for everything. Ooh, this is really sticking right now.
Good magnet.
That's a really good magnet. Okay, so I originally bought these because when I was a hoop and I would roll my fabric and then this would go around the rolled fabric. I love that. I keep this on my light and then I put my fabric, my floss drop, it hangs from the light. I love that. When my little granddaughter, my local granddaughter comes over, she is all into these, whether she's connecting them or if you have a toddler, they'll find places in the house they can stick. So
they're probably not meant for children under 3.
Okay, probably, but I'm watching her. She's not, I don't think she's put it in her mouth, but no. So fun. I have a link to these. Highly recommend these. All right, that's what I'm into right now. How about you, Anna?
All right, things I'm giving thumbs up to are shortbread cookies dipped in chocolate. And there's a brand at our local grocery store, Kelly's Cookies, spelled like that. And they were out of the ones I love, but we're gonna have to try. We're gonna have to try a new one.
Because
this one is.
This is the kind I get. What's the kind that you get that's different?
Well, it's just a plain shortbread, not a macadamia shortbread, and I think the chocolate might be a little bit darker, and it has chopped almonds on it. Anyway, these melt in your mouth. I mean, anyway, I'm really
They are like the perfect dessert too, because after dinner you have one of those. Yeah, you're set. Yeah, happy. You don't need any of these.
Another thing I'm into is on Thursday afternoons I walk at our local baylands. I'm a birder, and there are always migrating birds and local birds there, and the light and the way the tides are changing and everything is just such a refresher.
Do you do it every week?
Pretty much every Thursday after school. So it's sort of like the work week is almost done, and in fact, I will put in a picture that I took last Thursday. Yeah, we're in the San Francisco Bay Area, so there's lots of just hiking and everything all around the bay. And there's one, what 2 minutes? Probably 2 minutes from school for you, right? Yeah, very, very close. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing I'm giving thumbs up to is Wordle. I mean, I wake up, I get my cup of coffee, and I do my Wordle. I mean, I am into it. One a day. Other people in our family talk about it every day. It's just a real, wake up my brain and connect with my family. Yeah. Are you all into Wordle too? For some reason, I can't do Wordle. What happens to me is I can't come up with words. Like I know I need a word with like an S. Yeah. But I am such a fun observer. We have a family text and everyone's always texting what their Wordle is. And I think you texted early on, like, where are the numbers? Yeah, right. Is there a pattern? So yeah. So, hey, Anna. All right. It's our first episode. Yeah. Until next time. Yeah. So first of all, thank you if you're still here with us. Really appreciate it. As anything, like the first time you do something, we're just like, let's go for it. So we hope to see you again soon. And until next time, happy crafting and stay curious. All right. Let's stay curious. All right. Bye. Bye. Nice to see you.